Welcome back to another episode of Consumer Protection and You with Ryan Lippe. Today, Ryan's going to be talking about the upcoming March 3rd through March 9th Consumer Protection Week and how it can help you as a consumer. Stay tuned. Welcome back to another episode of Consumer Protection You with Ryan Lippe. Ryan Lippe is a consumer educator with the State of Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost's office. Ryan, always a pleasure talking with you.
Great. Thanks for having me again. I appreciate it. And we're coming upon a very important week in public awareness of consumer protection cases and rights, and what the different safeguards are for us to avoid scams and fraud. And by that, I mean National Consumer Protection Week, which, as you mentioned in your promo, is March 3rd through the 9th. And so that is when the entire country gets together, all the different partners, including the state attorney general's offices, get together to highlight consumer protections and make sure people understand their rights and how to avoid identity theft and be safe online and all the things that today with our modern technology entail consumer protection, which is a much wider array of products and services than ever before.
I am so amazed at how many different kinds of scams, kinds of frauds, kinds of phishing that occurs on a daily basis.
Absolutely. I mean, we're not immune to it, even if we don't go online. I mean, I have older adults that come to me that get phone calls, they get leaflets dropped off, they get mail in the postal mail. But then when you add the fact that most people are online these days, they're barraged with emails, robocalls, text messages, direct messages by social media apps like Facebook or Pinterest or LinkedIn. So we're really dealing in an environment where we have to defend ourselves from multiple points all throughout the day and night. And it's not easy to be a consumer these days, but there are protections out there. There are good forces at work, like the Consumer Protection Section of the Attorney General's office here in Ohio, that are trying to help people get solid footing so they can buy things online and they can do their daily living and lifestyle choices without any interruption and without having to succumb to the whims of a scammer out there that's usually overseas.
You know, if a policeman wearing a uniform comes on our porch and knocks on our door, we've been told to be very wary of that. And we can, if we want, call the police station to see if it's legitimate. But for the most part, we tend to be obedient citizens, and we just open up the door. And it's the same way with different scams. If we see something that's legitimate on our internet or on our phone, we assume that email or text is legitimate, and we will tend to respond to it.
That's true. And, you know, there's some people out there that still believe that, there must be at least an ounce of truth in what you see online or what you get in the emails. We just see a lot of imposter scams where the scammers are 100% phony, and they claim to be from even the Federal Trade Commission or local law enforcement or Amazon or eBay. They pretend to be from those companies or those organizations because those organizations do have credibility, and they do, sometimes have refunds in store for you or products to sell you and put on your doorstep, or arrest powers for warrants and things like that. But the fact is that these are very, very heavily impostered organizations. So we have to be more safe than ever, and we need to make sure that we ask for proper identification, which is awfully difficult over the phone. So if you don't know a phone number that's calling you, don't answer. Let it go to voicemail. And if it says it's your local police department, call the local police department back, maybe even at the non-emergency number, because somebody leaving another number may be impostoring them, and they'll answer the phone the right way, but they still won't be a police officer no matter how hard they try. So we really need to get in the mode of responding through those official channels, the real phone numbers, the real email addresses of those that are supposedly contacting us. So, when in doubt, hang the phone up and call the Attorney General's office, or call back using somebody's legitimate phone number that you've independently obtained through their real website or something like that. So it's just always important to have our guard up. And here at the Ohio Attorney General's office, we took about 23,000 complaints in 2022, and we're still getting the numbers together for 2023. But the biggest complaint issue was motor vehicles, and that's been continuing for years and years. But it's really important that people know that they can come to our office if they do have a problem they can't see fit to fix with a business or with a vendor. They can come to our office, and we have an informal dispute resolution program that we can get them involved with, where we can tell the business their side of the story. And hopefully this time the business will listen and maybe offer up a resolution that's favorable to the consumer, maybe a partial refund or even a full refund, when the consumer might not have been able to get even their foot in the door trying to respond on their own. So we really use the power of our office for good to help consumers throughout Ohio all year long. And sometimes we brag a little bit about it during National Consumer Protection Week, which is again March 3rd through the 9th, 2024.
Recently, I got a call, and it went to the voicemail, and this is part of what it said. This call is to authorize a payment of $1,499 for the recent order of an Apple Mac Pro on your Amazon account. Not fully thinking, I immediately went to that phone, called them, and it was interesting. They were out of Wrangell, Colorado, and they said that they just need information. I told them I did not order this, and so what they wanted was my bank information, so that way they could let them know not to charge.
Right,
having been a part of consumer protection and you, boy, that just all clicked in. And I said, there's no way I'm going to give you information. I hung up. I called your office. I called the FTC office. And I was very appreciative of all the information that you give, because it prevented me from giving them additional information.
Right. And, giving them your bank account number gives them the ability to then persuade you into giving them money. It gives them the ability to supposedly refund you the money and then take it back and tell you that you owe them money. It gets into crazy scenarios where you end up at the short end of the stick. You've given your personal bank information, and these guys are professional. There's no doubt about it. In fact, some organizations, most notably AARP, are doing a lot of work to reframe the discussion about older adults being scammed, because anybody can get scammed. People that have their full faculties, people that are intelligent, that have PhDs, that have law degrees. Everybody out there is vulnerable to a scam. So what we're not trying to do is blame the victim, and we're not trying to say that they necessarily fell for a scam or they didn't know any better. those aren't right terms to use when we're talking about being scammed. I mean, we're being violated by criminals, economically violated by them stealing personal information and or money, and we need to call it for what it is: a crime, an economic crime. So when you are asked for the bank information, you got to make sure you're really talking to Amazon, which of course you were not. But even Amazon should already have that information. And if you had an Amazon account, you could go on Amazon.com, the official website, check your account, and notice there might be something wrong. $1,000 charge you hadn't seen before. But obviously, if you were to sit back and take a deep breath and go to Amazon or call them at their official toll-free number, they would be able to tell you in a moment's notice that it was all a scam. But again, they're doing this in the thousands and millions, trying to reach people to get bank information. And, unfortunately, some people haven't seen your program. Some people haven't seen my presentation. Some people don't get the tactics of a scammer in mind, and they give them that information so they won't supposedly get charged for that MacBook Pro. But they usually choose an item that's roughly $900 to $1,100, and they usually say that it's an item that you've ordered and that you need to either pay for or dispute and get a refund regarding it. But it's a total scam, and we've even seen law enforcement be impersonated, the FTC be impersonated, banks being impersonated through this type of scam, where they'll even connect you to other scammers that play the role of law enforcement or your real bank, impostoring those entities as well. So it gets very manipulative and very convoluted sometimes, and they're banking on you not being able to think quickly on your feet, not being able to spot the scam, and following through with what they're telling you to do. Which, if you really follow the whole scam through and through, could empty your savings account. It could empty your bank account. It could, drop your credit card all the way to your credit limit. So there's really financial stakes that really find a lot of financials at stake here.
When I was reporting that to the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, and to the state of Ohio, it was a little bit embarrassing that I almost got caught. And I would imagine that if I was embarrassed, knowing what I know, I can imagine that it's very difficult for many people to report this.
That's absolutely true. I mean, these are underreported types of things that happen to us. I mean, there's lots of people that don't call the FTC. There's lots of people that don't know to call the Ohio Attorney General's office. So because the statistics are so underreported, people may not know from friends and neighbors how to proceed. And beyond that, you're right. Your sense of embarrassment or being ashamed or thinking that it must be a hopeless matter because you responded to something that you thought was official. Those are feelings that we all go through after a scam has been perpetrated on us. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't report the scam. It means that you should. And it's really important that even if we don't get your money back, even if it's impossible, because let's go back to several shows ago where we talked about the currencies that scammers use. They try to use they try to use things like reloadable prepaid cards, money cards. They try to use gift cards that you can buy at the grocery store. They try to use Western Union and MoneyGram, which are money transfer services, because they know once they get their paws on that money, that it's virtually impossible for the consumer to get the money back. So having said that, it doesn't make it impossible to get your money back. You should always contact immediately the source that you drew the money from. But it does mean that you may be sort of at wit's end when it comes to being able to resolve the problem. Grabbing the perpetrator is often difficult because they're overseas, and getting your money back is nearly impossible because they use types of currencies that are very difficult to reverse those transactions. Now they're starting to use a lot of cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. And in fact, even in smaller areas in Ohio, I've seen Bitcoin ATM machines where you can go in, put your cash in, and it gets converted to a Bitcoin. That's a lot of times what they're asking for these days. And remember that they're always lurking on social media channels, on social media platforms. And we're making a special effort in the education unit of the Consumer Protection section here in Ohio to let people know to watch out for people using direct messaging through Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Snapchat, all those different social media channels. That is becoming the avenue that scammers are using, probably more now than ever before, to try to connect and communicate with us, which are the vulnerable potential victims.
25, 30 years ago, our scams seemed very simple then. For instance, winning an Irish lottery ticket, somebody from Nigeria who wants to deposit $125 million in your account. It seems that these simple scams, it seems like it has really grown technology-wise in the last 25 years.
Oh, absolutely. Especially with the advent of caller ID spoofing, which lets people put whatever phone number they want you to see on your caller ID. With the advent of robo-dialing and automatic dialers that can dial numbers, 1,000 or a million of them every so often. With the advent of email and text messaging, where they can just send out for virtually free correspondence that claims to be official about your latest prize or your latest purchase. Email and international calling are so low priced right now with the advent of technology that you can run a scam operation on a shoestring budget and really get some vulnerable people's money and personal information. In fact, for the last 12 or 13 years, we've had an identity theft unit within the Ohio Attorney General's office because of the advent of lots and lots of data breaches, lots and lots of identity thefts happening. So if you are a true victim of identity theft, if your information has been used to commit a fraud, we actually have consumer advocates in the office that can go to bat for you and help resolve the identity theft issue and rectify the effects of identity theft. We work on a daily basis with credit reporting bureaus, with debt collectors, with creditors, with other organizations like the Federal Trade Commission and the IRS. Now, with tax identity theft, that's a special, that's sort of an issue that's best designed to be handled by the IRS and by the Ohio Department of Taxation. But a lot of identity theft involves credit cards, mortgages, auto loans. Those are the kind of things that we handle at the Ohio Attorney General's office to resolve those identity thefts so that we can restore the consumer's good name.
Well, I think that's very good, because 20 years ago, if you were caught in a identity scam of some sorts or a credit scam, the banks would say, hey, when you get resolved, come back and see us. And it would take anywhere from 20 to 100 hours to just sort through and then start repairing your scammed information.
Think of all the technology we have now that's in our power, that's good for us. We can check our credit reports at annualcreditreport.com. Not only can you do that once a year, they've now set the pace for being able to do it every week online at annualcreditreport.com. We can go in and go to identitytheft.gov if we want to get ourselves some help with identity theft, or you can call the Attorney General's office to rectify the effects of identity theft. So a lot of this technology is being designed to help consumers iron out those tough issues and to resolve things and restore their good names. And we even have an elder justice unit within the consumer protection section, and they help to protect older adults and enhance elder abuse victims' access to criminal justice services. And they're in touch with lots of the adult protective services in each of the 88 counties. So they deal a lot with elder abuse, financial exploitation, things like that in the elder justice unit. And the way to reach those folks is just like how you reach the entire Attorney General's office through our toll-free number, 800-282-0515. That's 800-282-0515, or through www.ohioprotects.org. That's where you can report a scam. That's where you can report a complaint against a company or someone that's not holding up their end of a sale or their end of a bargain. That's where you can report elder problems that are happening in your community. And they can in turn give you resources to help you out and to help protect that individual. So there's a lot to unpack when it comes to the services we provide at the Ohio Attorney General's office, as well as all the services from the breadth of the different partners that participate every year in National Consumer Protection Week. I mean, not only is it the Ohio Attorney General's office, but it's the Federal Trade Commission, it's the IRS, it's the Postal Inspection Service of the Postal Service, it's the Department of Commerce, it's the Department of Insurance, AARP, Pro Seniors. I mean, the list goes on in terms of the partners that we collaborate with, not just during National Consumer Protection Week, but that is the time that we are reserving for boosted public awareness of consumer protection issues. And we're going to be having, stay tuned, we're going to be having a resource fair in Central Ohio. We're going to be doing lots and lots of good activities throughout the week of March 3rd through the 9th.
One of the things that I really recommend individuals to go see is your publications on different topics. You have a wealth of information, just not on necessarily consumer fraud, but a variety of different things.
Absolutely. I mean, we're helping people shop for cars, for used cars, through our used car buyer checklist. We're helping people spot phone scams and robocall scams through a phone scams palm card that it's just a card front and back to give you how to spot a scam, how to know whether somebody is on the phone that's about ready to ask for your personal information and your money. We have our consumer scams booklet that comes out. So lots and lots of things. And we can give you that same information if we come into your community through a presentation that you can ask for through our toll-free number, through our website. You can request a presentation that is absolutely free, and we can give that for 20 or more people if it involves traveling, or we can do it virtually like you and I are connecting virtually right now, Patrick. We could do that for a handful or a whole boatload of consumers anywhere in the state of Ohio. We can help inform them about scams, identity theft, cybersecurity, how to shop smart, all those different identity theft, all those different kinds of topics. We have actual presentations on most of those that I just mentioned.
If I wanted to schedule something, just call that toll-free number.
Yes, just call that toll-free number at 800-282-0515. Let them know you want a consumer protection presentation. And if you go to our website, you can actually get descriptions of those presentations and figure out which one is right for you and your organization. And if you're like some groups, they want us back more than once to handle more than one topic. And we can certainly come back multiple times to address the same audience on these different issues. It's hard to put them all in one presentation because it would take us several hours, but we can come back. We can be part of lifelong learning series that your educational institutions may have. We can be part of charitable efforts that may reach out to clientele with some of this important consumer protection information. If you're a group like fraternal organizations, church groups, we do it all. So give us a call toll free, or if you want more information about consumer protection presentations, again, our website is www.ohioprotects.org, or the big website that has all the sections of the Attorney General's office on it is www.ohioattorneygeneral.gov. And from there, you can sign up for our Consumer Advocate newsletter. You can request a presentation. You can even chat with someone in our consumer or constituent services section during business hours in real time. You can actually chat with them. If you don't want a phone call or don't want to correspond through email, there's actually a chat feature online as well.
During Consumer Protection Week, I just come onto your website, or will you be out and about?
Both. We're probably going to do some social media. We may even launch some videos and things like that, but we do social media aggressively during National Consumer Protection Week. We may be in your neck of the woods. We're doing a resource fair in the Columbus area. We're going to be doing lots of presentations, and some of them are going to be partnerships with folks like the Better Business Bureau, Pro Seniors, the Consumers Council. See, those are groups I haven't even mentioned. I mean, we have so many partners that participate in National Consumer Protection Week that it's really good information that everybody needs to have. So stay safe and keep your guard up out there. And we hope to see everybody around Ohio during March 3rd through the 9th, National Consumer Protection Week.
Hey, we're talking with Ryan Lippe. He's a consumer educator with the state of Ohio, Attorney General Dave Yost's office. Ryan, as usual, I really appreciate your information.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. And we hope to see people around the state, if not during Consumer Protection Week, all year long. Thanks so much and stay safe.
Thank you.